Hello, everybody. I'm here to talk to you today about the 5 key recovery concepts and RAP. My name is Patrick Andrews, and I'm an advocate with the Tennessee Mental Health Consumers Association. So I appreciate you watching this video today. I hope everybody gets what they want out of it and gets informed about RAP and what that's all about. So to start off with, the first thing to go over to talk about as a foundation for RAP itself is the 5 key recovery concepts. And those are hope, personal responsibility, education, self-advocacy, and support. And those are important, again, because without hope, just for instance, we're not going to be filling out a wellness recovery action plan because we don't have any light at the end of the tunnel. So what would be the point? So hope is very important in the recovery process. We have to have something that we believe in that is going to get us through the hard time that we're dealing with. So that's hope. Personal responsibility is just the idea that you're taking responsibility for managing your life and for dealing with a mental health issue if that's what you're confronting in life, or for dealing with a marital issue if that's what you're confronting in life. That you're not blaming other people, that you're not disowning it, that you're taking ownership of what you want to change in your life and what you want your life to be like. So that's personal responsibility. Education is very broad. Education could be educating yourself about the mental health issue that you're dealing with, if that's depression or bipolar or what have you. Education could be broader. I know for me in my life, it's been education about spirituality, education about different perspectives on the meaning of life and things like that, different perspectives on the meaning of death and the meaning of life and how everything kind of fits together. So education could be very broad. It could mean you're educating yourself about side effects of medications. And so that's one that really doesn't need a whole lot of explanation in my mind. It's obvious that education is important to recovery. It just really makes sense. Self-advocacy is basically the idea that you can stand up for yourself. And self-advocacy is you being able to say, these are my needs, and these are my wants, and these are my rights, and these need to be respected and upheld. And if they're not, then it's time to speak up for myself, or speak up on behalf of someone else who's gone through a similar thing, and say, this is okay or this is not okay. It's really about, to me, it's about being assertive with what you need and not being shy about asking for your needs to be met. So, or your rights. And support, last but certainly not least, support is huge. That goes beyond a need for mental health recovery, and to me, really, it's just a human need for support. But certainly, if we're dealing with a mental health issue and we're trying to recover from something and maintain wellness, we've got to have support in that process. We've got to have other people that we connect with, that we just can be with, and that can listen to us and really be there for us. So support is just essential. And support to me is kind of like education. It's something that you just have to have it. And if you don't have it, you're really going to be hindered in your recovery and wellness process. So those are the 5 key recovery concepts: hope, personal responsibility, education, self-advocacy, and support. So now we're going to get into talking about RAP, which again, WRAP stands for Wellness Recovery Action Planning. So okay, that's what it stands for, but what does that mean? Well, RAP is really just a structured system for monitoring distressing behaviors or emotions, and through planned responses trying to modify or change how we deal with those things, how we deal with those behaviors, how we deal with those feelings. So that's kind of that's RAP in a nutshell. But it's really, to me, another way to think about it is it's a way of paying attention to yourself. It's a way of paying attention to your wellness every day and holding yourself accountable for getting well and staying well and meeting your needs. So that's another way to think about it. And it really is a structured system. And that's what I try to tell people when I'm facilitating is, I'm not a teacher. I'm not saying this is what you have to do. This is just one system. This is just one method of wellness. And there are many methods. One that works really good for me is meditation. And that's actually a part of my RAP as well. So RAP is very flexible. RAP, one person's RAP is not going to be another person's. It's very modifiable. But we're going to get into the sections of RAP now. There are 7 sections of RAP. There's Wellness Toolbox, the Daily Maintenance Plan, triggers, early warning signs, when things are breaking down, crisis plan, and post-crisis plan. So there's 7 sections altogether. The first section, Wellness Toolbox, is kind of what it sounds like. It's basically a list in some form of those things that help us to stay well, or things that help us to feel good. Because a lot of times those go hand in hand. Not always. Exercise is something that helps us with our wellness, but maybe we don't always feel like doing it. It depends on the day and the time and that kind of thing. But it is something that helps our wellness. And so again, that could be going to a movie, that could be walking the dog, that could be just almost anything. Brushing your teeth, taking a shower, could be a wellness tool. And that's just anything that helps us stay well. The next section is daily maintenance. There's 3 parts to daily maintenance. There's what I'm like when I'm well, things that I will do, that I must do every day to stay well, and then things that I might do every day to stay well. That's the 3rd section. So the first section, what I'm like when I'm well, is very important because we're getting a snapshot of what does it look like when I'm feeling good? What does it look like when I feel normal? Or, normal's not a great word, but when I feel good. And so for me, that's having a sense of humor. That's having a certain amount of energy. That's feeling like I'm connected to the world and connected to other people. So that's a snapshot of what it's like for me when I'm well. But that's going to be different for everybody. The next section, things I must do every day, is just exactly what it sounds like. It's things I must do. We want those things to be doable. We want those things to be easy to do every day. So that's an example of where I might put brushing my teeth or taking a shower. That's something that's easy that we can do every day, that's going to help us to feel well. For me, I would add to that stretching. I stretch every single day. It may not be formal, I may not set aside time for it, but I always find that throughout the day there's a time when I just kind of feel the urge to stretch and move and do that. So that's just an example. The 3rd section, things I might do every day, are those things that maybe we don't have time to do every day. And maybe those things that maybe cost more money or that kind of thing. So an example of that might be going to see a movie with my wife. That's not something I would do every day. Who has the time or the money to do that every day if you have a job or you have kids and these other responsibilities that come with being an adult. So going to see movies, going to the Smoky Mountains National Park and taking a hike, something like that. Those are things I might do. And it's good to have a list of those things so we don't forget about those. So those are the 3 sections of daily maintenance. And the next section is triggers. And triggers are those things that are mostly outside of us, that something comes up and all of a sudden you feel bad, or you are triggered to maybe behave in a certain way. So an example for me might be if I'm in traffic and traffic is moving at a slow pace and been stuck in traffic for an hour and I'm starting to get irritated. That's an example of a trigger. So we list our triggers, and then the next section of triggers is the trigger's action plan. And an action plan is what it sounds like. What actions am I going to take when this trigger comes up? And so for that situation, being in traffic, I would probably meditate, because that's my go-to. I'm big into meditation. For someone else, that might be taking a walk, looking at the sky, just anything that's in their wellness toolbox could be something, or maybe something an idea they got from a friend. So that's triggers and triggers action plan. Early warning signs is the same thing, same format as triggers. You've got your early warning signs, and you list those out, and then you've got the action plan. Early warning signs are not necessarily internal or external. They can kind of be either or both. So an internal early warning sign for me might be that I'm having a lot of negative thoughts. That might be an early warning sign that things are starting to go downhill for me. An external sign might be that I'm no longer exercising. All I'm doing is sitting on the couch. That's something that I could notice that's external, or somebody else could notice and say, hey, how are you feeling? How are you doing? That kind of thing. So those are some early warning signs you can notice. Early warning signs action plan, again, it's those actions that you take when you notice those early warning signs. Okay, I notice I'm having a lot of negative thoughts. So what can I do about that? All right, I can take a walk. I can go running. I can watch a show on TV that I really like. I can eat some good food, use a light box, whatever it might be. So that's early warning signs. And then when things are breaking down is a little bit different. It's the same format as triggers and early warning signs, but you're going to want the action plan to be a little bit more explicit. So you might have something like, I must do, I must meditate, versus, I might meditate, or I must meditate for an hour a day. Because clearly things have gotten worse, things are breaking down at this point, so I need to do something more specific. Maybe I want to make sure and get to bed early every single night. And so these things are going to be, the problem's getting more serious, so we have to have a more serious response. I think that's the simplest way I can put it. And so that's when things are breaking down. So when things are breaking down, our list of things breaking down might be a bit more serious. So let's say if I had an early warning sign that I wasn't sleeping enough once or twice a week, now when things are breaking down, I'm not getting sleep any night. I'm getting 2 hours of sleep max every night. I feel exhausted every day. We know that things are starting to get bad. So that's an example of how those are different. And some people choose not to have it when things are breaking down. Some people choose to just have early warning signs, and then their next section is crisis, because they don't want to have that part of their plan, and that's totally fine. So everybody's wrap is different, but we're going to go through all the sections just the same. And so now we're getting into the more serious part of wrap, where we're addressing crisis. So the last sections we're going to cover are the crisis plan and post-crisis plan. The crisis plan is basically a plan for when things are so bad that you can no longer really trust yourself to make decisions on your own behalf. Or maybe you're incapacitated and you need someone else to take over. So there are 9 sections to crisis plan. The first section is what I'm like when I'm well. So where have we seen that before? Okay, we saw that in daily maintenance. And so that's important because we're looking at, okay, this is what I'm like when I'm well. Now what does it look like when I'm in crisis? And so we can kind of see, okay, I'm not looking anything like what I'm supposed to look like when I'm well. So this is a sign that I'm in crisis. So that's section 1. Section 2 is symptoms. Or another way you could say this is signs that others might need to take over. So some signs might be, I'm not answering the door, I'm not answering the phone when people call me, my voice message box is full because I just stopped checking my messages, nobody has seen me out, something like that. Those could be signs that I'm in crisis and I need others to take over. And there are others, and people can list those in that section. Section 3 of the crisis plan is supporters. Now again, we were talking about getting more specific with when things are breaking down, and this is very, very specific in crisis plan. So for supporters, you're going to list the information for that supporter, what their role is or what their job is as your supporter, and kind of what you want them to do, what you need from them as a supporter. So their contact information, what you need from them as a supporter. Number 4, medications, supplements, or healthcare preparations. That's going to include doctor's info, allergies, and then maybe some medications that you want to avoid if you end up in a situation where maybe you're in a hospital or somewhere else where medication is being prescribed. So that's where you can list out your medications, again, your allergies and stuff like that. Number 5 is treatments and complementary therapies. And this is going to be a list of the treatments that maybe you want or that you're willing to have, and when and how specifically that you want to have those treatments. And that could be anything from alcohol and drug treatment to respite care to RAP. Maybe you want to attend to RAP, that kind of thing. Number 6, home care, community, or respite care. And this is how you're listing out how you would like to be cared for in a non-hospital or more of a community type setting. And more of these respite centers are popping up in the last few years. And so that might be a matter also of finding out what your resources are in your area for respite or community care. Number 7 is hospital treatment and hospital preference. I know there's folks that I've talked to that they absolutely will not go to this certain hospital, and they absolutely love this other hospital or other treatment facility. And so this section 7 is a section where you can list out specifically what hospitals you want to go to, what hospitals you want to avoid, or what treatment centers you want to avoid or go to. Section 8 is help from others. So this is kind of like supporters. And again, you want to be very explicit. What do you want others to do or not do? These could be very, very specific. Feed my dog. Because I'm not going to be at home, I'm going to be in the hospital, I'm going to be somewhere else in respite care. Could you come by and feed my dog or cat? But listing out specifically what you want your supporters to do. And section 9, inactivating the plan. And this includes a couple of sections. One is signs or actions that show it's time to end the crisis plan. And then the second part there is a signature section for people to sign and say that they've witnessed that this is the person's crisis plan and that this is an official document. Another thing you can do is have a durable power of attorney sign your crisis plan as well, and that helps it hold up when you're in that situation and you're in the hospital. A lot of times, sometimes people take convincing, and that's just the reality of the situation. If they see that your attorney has signed on to this, then it makes it that much quicker to actually get what you need because people are taking this document seriously. So that's crisis plan. Post-crisis plan includes about 5 sections. The first one is signs that the crisis is over. The phrase, I'm able to blank, and fill in the blank. So I'm able to do house chores again. I'm able to take care of my cat or my dog again. I'm able to do the things that I was doing before the crisis, that kind of thing. Section 2, how I want to feel after this crisis. So this is similar to what I'm like when I'm well. And again, we saw that at the beginning of crisis plan and daily maintenance. So this is kind of how I want to feel after this crisis is over, what I want to look like. I want to have a sense of humor again. I want to be walking my dogs again. I want to be meditating again, this kind of thing. And I want to feel this way. So, section number 3 in post-crisis plan, supporters, their contact information, what you want them to do specifically to help you heal, and specific tasks that they may need to take on in post-crisis. Section 4 and 5 Section 4 is arriving at home, the different responsibilities that you have to take on after arriving home from a crisis. This might be apologizing to friends that have helped you, or you might be apologizing to people whose feelings you hurt when you were in the middle of crisis and not yourself. but this could also include things that you need to feel safe when you return home. And then Section 5 is simply a timetable for resuming responsibilities of things that others had to take over when you were in crisis. So that's the Key Recovery Concepts wrap, and all of the sections of wrap. I appreciate you watching the video. I hope it was informative for you, and if you have any questions, please contact me. Thank you.